Hi, my name is Erin Sujon, and I live on a boat. And here are my top 5 reasons for living on a boat. Reason number 5 is the minimalist lifestyle. I include within all of this learning more about conservation, downsizing, as well as price tag. So first let's talk price tag. I live in the Los Angeles area, so you could be spending easily like $2,000 or more a month on a 1-bedroom apartment. On a boat, you're spending maybe a quarter of that. So we like to call it $1 million view, $1,000 price tag. Let's talk about downsizing for a second. So it's a boat, and it's kind of like living out of a car, but slightly bigger. My closet is very tiny. A lot of people would find the downsizing daunting, and it is a pretty daunting task, I will admit, to having my fair share of nights up crying, talking to girlfriends, wondering how I'm going to make this work. But in the end, you do make it work, and once you do, it gives you a lot of self-confidence, and it makes you realize how little you actually need to survive and to be happy. Let's also talk about conservation. All of the birds in my marina I have named Bob or Bobette, depending on gender. It sounds a little silly, but my dog gets it, so we're good. So when you're that in touch with the wildlife, the fish, the sea, you start to understand a little bit more and be a little bit more in tune with how you're affecting them. And I always think that's a beautiful thing. Number 4, being a digital nomad on a boat. There is a lot that goes into prepping your lifestyle so that you can be a real digital nomad. First one to admit, I'm not there yet. But realistically, you could do it, and that is pretty awesome. Number 3, boating as a hobby. So a lot of people live on their boats and don't ever freaking leave the marina, and that's totally fine. If you just love being on the water and love living on the water, not a problem. However, a lot of us love to boat, and you can be a power boater, you can be a sailor, you can freaking little dinghies with outboard motors, but you love being on the water. It's a hobby, and it's also a sport, so it adds a lot to your life in that way. You get to learn so much by living this lifestyle. You get to learn not only waterman skills and things about boating, but if you're me, I wasn't brought up to really work on my own mechanical anything. So far, this has been an incredible learning experience because I've gotten to learn all of those different skills. I'm not a master at any of them yet, but I do get to experiment, and I get to learn just by being on the boat. The other big thing is that boating and being a liveaboard really develops your grit. You have to become a much more patient person because you can't always get things done the same day, especially if you're working on your own boat. And a lot of the time, things go wrong. There's so many sayings that boaters have that are derogatory about their boats. Boat stands for break out another 1,000, all of these kinds of things about, how hard it is to own. But the truth is that if you're able to turn that frustration into a different outlook, an outlook of gratitude where you simply say, hey, look, I've leveled up my problems. I didn't even used to have a boat, and now my boat needs fixing. That's something that really requires a lot of mental strength and growth as a person. And I think that it might be the hardest task, but it's also the most rewarding when you become a liveaboard. And number 1, the big one, the one that is the coolest, being a liveaboard gives you a sense of personal independence and autonomy that I think you only get when you develop a lifestyle that is really outside the norm. One of the biggest takeaways for me is that I am independent and I can rely on myself, and I now have the confidence to say that as a young single woman, that I can make a lot of things happen that I didn't think could happen before. Thanks so much for watching this little rundown. I hope you stay tuned for many more videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.